Yes.
All right, good afternoon.
I'm making an intervention so we can hear from a woman.
Oh,
No problem.
thank you.
No problem.
You'll be next.
Thank you. First, I just want to say I'm so honored to be in all of your presence. I am overwhelmed. My name is Jessie Kimbrough-Sujik. I'm a physician from Detroit, Michigan. I'm a grad student at Harvard School of Public Health. My question is, my state of Michigan, as you know, was the third state to have affirmative action banned most recently. And my question is, what are your thoughts about that and how we as a black people should respond to that in this legacy of inequality and oppression?
Let's hear.
I want to hear what you told your students in the classroom when that happened.
That's such a complicated question for me because I was very taken by Professor West's comments about diversity, that it's a bureaucratic construct for being well-adjusted. And in some ways, I worry that affirmative action is playing that same role, and that affirmative action has been hijacked to become a bureaucratic construct to maintain the status quo rather than to struggle against it. I am not saying that the result in Michigan, in my view, was the correct result, but I do believe that it is time for the civil rights movement and for those of us who are committed to racial justice and to the larger ideals of love and service that both Tavis and Cornell have talked about, that it is time for us to become more adaptive about our commitments to justice. I feel as if we are committed to the means rather than the ends. So affirmative action is presumably a means to reach a set of ends. I would like us to talk more about the ends that we have in mind and then be flexible in some ways about the means that we use to achieve those ends. So affirmative action, to me, doesn't go far enough, right? So I'm way out there. It doesn't go far enough because it is an adjustment to an unfair status quo that ends up legitimating the unfairness of the status quo. Okay? So affirmative action is like a Band-Aid on the wound, but it does not actually address or heal the wound. So for me, I would like to see us challenging the basis on which the University of Michigan or other universities in Michigan or in California are admitting everyone in order to open up a conversation about who really should be going to our institutions of public higher education. What is the mission of those institutions to serve the society, to promote the ideals of love and justice and service that we've heard discussed so prophetically? And to me, that means in some ways thinking about merit in democratic terms, thinking about merit in forward-looking terms, not just saying, well, we should be admitting people based on what they've done in the past, and we're going to assess them based on tests that actually tell us more about the car that your parents drive than the grades that you're going to get in college or law school, right? They call that the Volvo effect. So to me, it's a wake-up call. And it's a wake-up call to us that we have to learn to be more adaptive and more inventive and more innovative and not confuse the means with the ends and put the ends back on the table, that this is really about holding institutions of higher education to their public mission. They are defaulting on that public mission, not just for black people, not just for brown people, but for all of our citizens. And so you see some of the poor whites and the working class whites feeling that they're excluded. And who are they targeting? They're targeting the black people and the brown people. We need to redirect their anger so that they're going after the people who are really monopolizing access to higher education, and those are the middle class and affluent people of all races. So This is an opportunity for a much deeper conversation, and I don't mean to monopolize it.
As a brother, I want the brother to be heard now. But just 10 seconds, I want to add to that right quick, 10 seconds. And I want to harken back to something I said earlier. I've said twice tonight. The irony of this election, again, everybody jumping up and down about the Democrats having control of the House and the Senate. On balance, that's probably a good thing, certainly for those of us who care about corrective programs like affirmative action. That said, the irony is, which nobody's talking about, the very day that the Democrats won, corrective programs like affirmative action lost. So let's take it back to what Professor Gunier is talking about. The ultimate, she's right. Now is time. King used to say the time is always ripe, R-I-P-E, to do right, R-I-G-H-T. Now we see what the Democrats are made of. They continue to take African-American voters and African-American issues for granted. This is one of the issues at the top of our agenda. Let's see what they intend to do about it. But don't get it twisted. And don't lose sight of that. The day they won, this issue lost in your home state of Michigan. So are they prepared to have a real dialogue about that issue, about preemptive strike, et cetera, or are we about to return to business as usual on the other side of January the 4th?